WJZ's breaking news.
Now at 6, we are continuing to follow that breaking news tonight. We're learning a 16-year-old young man was shot and killed near Lansdowne High School this afternoon. Hello, everybody. I'm Denise Koch, and welcome to WJZ's All Local News at 6. Police say the victim was in front of a liquor store across the street from the school when a suspect jumped out of a car and started shooting. WJZ has been following this story all evening, all afternoon. We have live team coverage right now. We're going to begin with Tara Lynch at the scene. Tara.
Well, Denise, we know that this happened just after 2 o'clock after dismissal at Lansdowne High School. We know that that 16-year-old victim is dead. That person was shot several times outside of not only that liquor store, but after a brief pursuit across Hollands Ferry Road, the victim ended up on the Lansdowne High School property. That is where the suspect then shot the victim several more times. Police rendered aid and was able to transport that victim to the hospital, where he later died. Right now, police are still looking for that suspect. They don't have a full description of that person, but I was just talking with Chief McCullough, who tells me that there should be some good news coming out here soon with this investigation. We will, of course, keep an eye on that. But we did hear from him earlier this afternoon about the search for this gunman.
In terms of the suspect, right now we'll withhold the suspect description. It appeared to be a younger individual. In terms of the actual overall description and suspect, we'll hold on to that information as we continue to investigate this case. We don't want to compromise the investigation.
Again, the headline here this afternoon, a 16-year-old male is dead. That person was a student at Lansdowne High School. We also know the victim was not in school today, but was across the street when this shooting began. But again, we just heard from Chief McCullough saying that the Baltimore County Police Department is hopeful that some good news will be coming out soon in regard to this investigation. I now want to send it over to Hollands Ferry Road. That's where we find Kelsey Kushner. Kelsey, you are at the crime scene. What are you seeing there?
Well, you know, we did speak with a lot of parents who arrived today frantically trying to figure out where exactly their child was today. And just to kind of paint a picture as to what we're looking at right now, this is the shopping center where police say that student was standing outside one of the shops here. You can see that it's still roped off and they have a number of evidence markers down on the ground. But this is where police say that student was standing when the suspect jumped up on them basically and started opening fire. And if you follow me here, this is the sidewalk where police say that the student then ran down the roadway here into the front yard of Lansdowne High School. And at one point they say that student was bleeding out on the ground. That's when the suspect walked over to him and then stood over him and continued opening fire on that student. We know, of course, that student has since passed away and the suspect then hopped in the car and took off. But there were a number of parents who arrived on scene today saying that their child was still in lockdown inside the school. Police saying, you know, that there were some students who were dismissed and took off, but there were a number of students who were still on campus. Parents arriving here trying to track them down and figure out where exactly their child was. Neighbors in the area described a very chaotic scene, saying that roads were blocked off. There were choppers circling above. Take a listen to what one neighbor had to say.
We've been walking for an hour and a half now. And I mean, I just knew it was something because I was like, why is the helicopter just hovering over above? And then there was a lady said that it took her forever to get past. She said they had all the Lansdowne closed. She was like up there at the shopping center where that tobacco store is. I was like, oh my God, that's Speedy Mart. I was like, oh my God. Next thing you know, phones was lit up. And I'm just like, oh my God, we need to get home, but we're walking.
All after-school activities were canceled for today on school campus. Parents were redirected to nearby parking lots just to pick up their kids, many of them telling me that this is just devastating that this happened. And, you know, police did make that push today, saying that while they knew that the victim was not in school today, the chief saying that it is so important for kids to be in school because for some kids, school is a safe haven for them. Reporting live, Kelsey Kushner for WJZ.
All right, thank you very much, Kelsey and Tara at the scene there. Well, another